Close your eyes for just a moment. I want you to imagine two versions of you. One is sitting exactly where you are right now, maybe exhausted, maybe restless, maybe somewhere between hopeful and quietly defeated. That version has dreams they haven't touched in months, plans they wrote down and folded away, a voice inside them that keeps whispering more, and another voice, louder, that keeps answering who are you to want more. The second version of you. They woke up this morning already moving, already building. They carry a quiet, unshakable certainty, not arrogance, not perfection, just a deep, settled knowing that they are capable, that they are becoming, that every single day is raw material in the hands of someone who has learned how to build. Here is the question that should burn through you right now. It is not talent. It is not luck. It is not the city you were born in, the family you came from, the money you do or do not have in your account right now. It is the mind. Specifically, it is the architecture of the mind. The neural pathways that have been quietly, invisibly, relentlessly carved into the landscape of your brain over years and years of repeated thought. Every time you told yourself, I'm not good enough, a pathway deepened. Every time you chose comfort over courage, a habit calcified. Every time you said someday, a future quietly died. But here is the paradox, the one that changes everything if you let it land. The same brain that built those limiting patterns is the same brain that can demolish them. You are not a victim of your own mind. You are its architect. You just haven't been handed the blueprints yet. That changes today, because the life you want, the discipline, the clarity, the momentum, the identity of someone who shows up. It is not locked behind some extraordinary gift you were never given. It is locked behind a version of your mind you have not yet been shown how to build. And right now, in the next 15 minutes, that is exactly what we are going to do. This is not a pep talk. This is not empty motivation that fades by tomorrow morning. This is a reckoning, a surgical examination of why you are still stuck, what it is costing you, and the precise, your evidence-backed system that will transform the way you think, act, and ultimately live permanently. Stay with me. What comes next will not let you look at yourself the same way again. Let's talk about what is actually happening inside your skull. Because the reason most people fail to change is not weakness of character. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of how the brain works and what it actually takes to rewire it. For most of human history, scientists believed the brain was essentially hardwired by adulthood. You got what you got. Neuroscience has since shattered that idea completely. Your brain is neuroplastic, meaning it is physically, structurally malleable throughout your entire life. Every thought you think, every behavior you repeat, every emotion you rehearse is literally reshaping the neural architecture of your brain. Neuroscientist Donald Hebb gave us the foundational principle: neurons that fire together, wire together. When you repeat a thought or action, the synaptic connection between those neurons strengthens, like a trail through a forest that becomes a road through repetition. This means the anxiety you feel when stepping into discomfort, that's a well-worn trail. But it also means that courage can become a trail. Discipline can become a trail. Self-belief can become an interstate highway, if you are willing to walk it enough times. The mind does not care whether the habit it builds is serving you or destroying you. It only responds to repetition. Which means the single most powerful question you can ask yourself is not what do I want, but what am I repeatedly practicing? James Clear, building on decades of behavioral psychology, articulated something in Atomic Habits that should be tattooed on the inside of every ambitious person's mind. The most durable behavior change does not come from goal setting. It comes from identity shifting. Most people approach change from the outside in. They set a goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to build a business. I want to wake up early. And then they try to force behaviors toward that outcome. This is exhausting and almost always unsustainable. The people who change permanently work from the inside out. They ask not what do I want to achieve, but who do I want to become? And then they cast votes for that identity with every small action they take. Every time you sit down to write when you don't feel like it, you are casting a vote for the identity of a writer. Every time you get up when your alarm goes off, instead of negotiating with yourself for 20 more minutes, you are casting a vote for the identity of someone who honors their own commitments. Over time, those votes accumulate, they compound. And one day, the identity becomes undeniable to you and to everyone around you. You are not trying to do differently. You are learning to be differently. That is the shift. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck spent decades studying why some people thrive under challenge while others collapse. Her research revealed two fundamentally different orientations to ability and intelligence. The fixed mindset believes talent is innate. You either have it or you don't. Failure, to the fixed mindset person, is evidence of permanent inadequacy. So they avoid it. They stay inside the boundaries of what they already know they can do. They play small to stay safe. The growth mindset believes ability is developed. Struggle is not a sign of inadequacy. It is the mechanism of growth. Challenges are not threats. They are opportunities for the brain to literally build new capability. What's remarkable is that Dweck's research showed this is not just a philosophical position. Brain imaging revealed that growth mindset individuals show greater neural activation in response to errors, meaning their brains are literally more engaged, more alive, more learning when things go wrong. Failure to the rewired mind is not the opposite of success. It is the curriculum of success. These three principles, neuroplasticity, identity-based habit formation, and the growth mindset, are not abstract ideas. They are the operating system of every high performer you have ever admired. The question is whether you will install them in yourself or keep running on outdated software. I need you to do something uncomfortable right now. I need you to stop thinking about your future and start thinking about your regret. Not the regrets you already carry, though those are real and deserve acknowledgement. I want you to project forward. I want you to stand in the body of your 80-year-old self, tired, weathered, with fewer tomorrows than yesterdays, and ask with total honesty, what will I wish I had done? What voice will I wish I had listened to? What discomfort will I wish I had walked through? Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, Stoic philosopher, a man who ruled the most powerful empire on earth while simultaneously waging a private war against his own comfort, wrote in his Meditations, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Sit with that. Not death, not failure, not embarrassment or rejection or loss. The deepest human fear, according to one of history's most battle-tested minds, is the unlived life, the life left in the waiting room, the version of yourself that was always about to begin. Viktor Frankl survived the Holocaust. He lost everything: his family, his manuscript, his physical freedom. He was stripped of every external source of meaning the world could offer. And yet, from inside the concentration camps of Auschwitz, he discovered what he would later call the last of human freedoms, the freedom to choose your response to any given set of circumstances. Frankl did not emerge from that darkness broken. He emerged with a philosophy, logotherapy, built on the radical conviction that a person who has a why can endure almost any how. The question for you is not whether your life is hard. Of course it is hard. Everyone's is. The question is whether your hardship has a direction, whether your struggle has a why behind it large enough to justify the cost of full commitment. Because here is the truth that comfortable living has been protecting you from: the cost of staying the same is always greater than the cost of change. You just pay it slowly so you don't notice until the debt is enormous. Every year you spend in a life smaller than your potential is a year of compound interest paid against your soul. The anxiety that comes from knowing you are not living up to what you are capable of. That low-grade, persistent, unnamed dissatisfaction. That is not a personality quirk. That is the sound of unlived potential knocking, and it will keep knocking. Fear of failure feels like a shield. In reality, it is a cage. Because failure, real failure, the kind that comes from trying, is survivable. In fact, it is not just survivable, it is instructive. It is the data that refines your direction, the friction that builds your strength, the very thing that transforms a dreamer into someone who knows. But the fear of failure, that is not survivable in the long run. It metastasizes. It becomes the story of your life. It becomes the answer you give yourself at 80 when you ask, "Why didn't I try?" Don't let that be your answer. Enough philosophy. Let's talk about what you actually do. Because inspiration without architecture is just emotion, and emotion without direction evaporates by Tuesday. What you need is a system, a set of daily disciplines so precisely designed that even on the days you don't feel motivated, the system carries you forward anyway. Here are 6 strategies that will rewire your mind at the behavioral level. These are not suggestions. They are the structural engineering of a new identity. Your brain, in the first 60 minutes after waking, is in a highly neuroplastic state. It is primed to receive and anchor information. Most people immediately flood this window with social media, news, and other people's narratives. They hand the pen of their day to someone else before they've written a single word themselves. Reclaim that hour. Begin with 5 minutes of intentional silence, no phone, no input. Then move your body. Even 10 minutes of physical movement dramatically increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the protein responsible for building new neural connections. Follow this with a written articulation of your primary identity statement, who you are becoming and what today requires of you. You are not waking up and going through the motions. You are performing a daily ceremony of self-construction. A vision without a bridge is a hallucination. Most people set goals in the abstract. I want to be successful. I want to be fit. I want to build wealth, without ever engineering the specific, measurable, time-bound steps that translate vision into trajectory. Adopt a 3-layer goal structure: a North Star goal, your 12-month transformational target, quarterly milestones, the measurable checkpoints, and weekly non-negotiables, the 3 to 5 actions that must happen regardless of how you feel. Review this architecture every Sunday. Adjust tactically, never abandon the direction. Every time something does not go as planned, you have a choice in the interpretation. The fixed mind says, "This proves I can't do it." The rewired mind asks, "What is this teaching me, and what does it require me to adjust?" Build a failure debrief practice. After every significant setback, write down 3 things: what happened, what you learned, and what you will do differently. This is not toxic positivity. It is strategic intelligence gathering. You are converting loss into leverage. Your most cognitively demanding work must happen during your peak energy window. For most people, this is the 2 to 4 hours after full awakening. During this window, no meetings, no email, no reactive tasks. This is your deep work block, the time dedicated to the work that actually moves the needle on your most important goals. Block it. Guard it. Treat any intrusion of it as a theft, because it is. The person who can regulate their emotional state under pressure has an extraordinary advantage. This is trainable. Begin with the practice of cognitive labeling. When a strong emotion arises, name it precisely. Research by neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman shows that simply naming an emotion reduces activity in the amygdala and increases prefrontal cortex engagement. You are literally using language to regain executive control. Pair this with box breathe in, 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold, to activate the parasympathetic nervous system in real time. In moments of pressure, the person who can breathe while others panic will always make better decisions. That person can be you. Your self-concept is the sum total of everything you believe to be true about yourself. It is the lens through which every experience is filtered. And here is what most people do not understand: your brain will always act in alignment with your self-concept. If you believe at your core that you are someone who fails, you will unconsciously engineer situations that confirm that belief. This means the most powerful place to do your work is not on your habits or your goals, but on your story. Write a new one. Not a delusional fiction, but a directional truth, a description of who you are in the process of becoming, written in the present tense, rehearsed daily. I am someone who does hard things. I am someone who finishes what I start. I am someone who shows up especially when it's difficult. Say it. Write it. Live toward it. Identity is not what you declare. It is what you practice declaring until it becomes who you are. You have arrived at the moment that separates every person who watches this from every person who changes because of it. Because information is everywhere. Motivation is everywhere. You have heard versions of this before. You've felt the fire before. And yet here you are. Which tells me something important: the fire is not the problem. The follow-through is. So let's make this specific. Let's make this real. Let's make this binding. Right now, not tonight, not tomorrow morning, right now, write down one sentence that declares the person you are committed to becoming, not who you want to be someday, who you are choosing to be from this moment forward. It might sound like, "I am someone who does what they said they would do," or "I am someone who builds their life with intention rather than waiting for permission." Whatever it is, write it down. Put it somewhere you will see it every morning. This is not motivational decoration. This is your anchor. For the next 30 days, you will do one thing each day that the old version of you would have avoided. One uncomfortable conversation. One early morning instead of a late one. 1 hour of focused work on the thing that matters most. One instance of choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. You do not need to transform your entire life in 30 days. You need to prove to yourself, through action, through evidence, that you are the kind of person who does the thing. 30 days of that and the identity begins to solidify. 60 days and it hardens. 90 days and you will look back and not recognize who you used to be. Tell someone. Tell a friend, a partner, a mentor, or if that feels too exposing, write it in a public space, post it somewhere, say it out loud. The moment your commitment exits the private vault of your own mind and enters the world, the psychological cost of abandoning it rises dramatically. You are not weak for needing accountability, you are human. The rewired mind uses every available tool, including other people, in service of becoming. And I want to leave you with this. Not a motivational slogan, not a performance, just the truth. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be relentless. Perfection is a lie we use to delay starting. It is the most elegant, most socially acceptable form of self-sabotage ever invented. Nobody becomes great by being perfect. They become great by refusing to stop, by getting up one more time than they fall, by showing up on the Tuesday when no one is watching, when nothing feels meaningful, when the vision feels distant and the work feels pointless, and doing the thing anyway. That is the mind. That is the rewrite. Every single morning you wake up, you are handed a blank page. The question is not whether you deserve to write something great on it. The question is whether you are willing to. You already know the answer. That is why you are still here. Now go build it. If this script moves something in you, If something in here shifted the way you see yourself or what you believe is possible, share it with one person who needs to hear it, not for the views, not for the algorithm, but because the people around you are fighting the same battles, running the same outdated programs, living smaller than they are built to live. Give them the blueprints. And if you want more of this, more of the science, the philosophy, the systems, the fire, subscribe. Because this is not a one-time conversation. This is a commitment to becoming.